Hi, I'm Lisa Marie. Welcome to my channel, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie. Today, we're going to do some coastal DIYs. Let's get crafting. For this DIY, I end up just using this darker nautical rope, a bunch of different scrapbook papers, and this old shelf that I just had laying around and wasn't using. And the first thing that I'm going to do is sand it down so that I can paint it and the paint will stick. And I'm just using my little sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree. Then I'm going to wipe off all the dust with a cloth. Then I picked all of these cute little coastal themed pieces of scrapbook paper, and now I'm just going to cut them down to little strips that will fit on my board. And I'm going to be making a sign with these, and I use my little cutter to do that. And now I'm just figuring out my pattern that I want to do, and then I'm going to Mod Podge them all down to this board. And I'm going to just start from one end, work towards the middle, and then go on the other end and work back towards the middle. That way I establish the pattern that I did, and I can make sure that everything is even. And I'm using my little brayer to flatten it out and get rid of bubbles. And I have all of my tools like the brayer and other things down in my Amazon store. If you need something like that, feel free to check that out. It does help my channel and it doesn't cost you anything extra. And thanks in advance if you do that. And like I said, I am just going ahead and arranging these with Mod Podge. And I'm loving this paper. I got it at Hobby Lobby. It was like a coastal themed little mini book. It is just gorgeous. And then I overlap those little striped ones right in the middle because I just love them. Now that it's all on, I'm just making sure I get all the bubbles out, and I'm going to sand all of the edges going all the way around because sometimes you get a little hangover of the paper, and this gives it a nice clean edge, and it kind of makes it look like it's part of the board. And then I'm going to clean up all the dust from the sanding with my little ladybug vacuum. It's just a lifesaver. I'm using my white primer Kills paint to paint all around the edges because some of them were unfinished. And this way, it just gives it, again, more of that coastal look, kind of distresses the edges a little bit. I'm going to dry it off with my heat tools so that I can move forward more quickly. I'm not the most patient person, so I don't like to wait. Now I'm going to get out a pencil, and after I open up my nautical rope, and I'm going to write out the word beach going vertically down my sign. And that way I know exactly where to put my rope. I'm going to put some Mod Podge over the top just to make sure that everything is sealed and the paper doesn't come off. And once that is dry, then I'm going to start cutting my rope to cover the letters that I drew out. I'm actually going to do all the straight pieces first. So it looks like I'm doing this in a weird order, but I just thought it'd be easier to get all the straight pieces on there, and I'm hot gluing them right to the sign. And then I will come back in and do the curved pieces. And I'm loving how this is turning out. It was actually super easy. Honestly, it looks like it would be kind of hard to do, but it's really not. I thought it would take longer than it did. It was super fast, and actually it's kind of fun. I enjoyed doing it. And now that I got to the B, that's the last letter. And I was looking at this thinking, it's almost a little dark, and I wanted it to look like maybe the sand was hitting it, so it would look a little worn. So I took a white Arteza paint marker and I just lightly brushed over the top of every letter, and that gave it that really beachy kind of coastal look that I was going for. And I love it because think about it, there's always sand in the air and everything gets misted with it, and this kind of gave it that feel. So it's super, super cute. On the back of the sign, there were these little holes from where the shelf was. So what I did was I cut some more nautical rope and I hot glued it down into those little grooves where the holes are. And once I did that, I took 2 screws, and I thought this is a very heavy shelf, so I couldn't just put it on with glue. And I used my drill and I screwed in a screw on each side and made it really secure, and that's it. I absolutely love how this turned out, and honestly, it was super easy. Let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you like it. Today's video is a hop, and our theme is coastal vibes. I am working with 3 other super talented crafters, and you will find a link down in my description box to hop to the next person, and you'll go to theirs and then repeat the process till you get all the way back to my video. You aren't going to want to miss any of these videos. They are so talented. And if you've hopped over from one of the other channels, welcome. I am so glad that you are here. It's so great to meet you. For this DIY, I'm using these really pretty napkins I got at the home goods store and some cardboard that's meant to go in the back of some shelves I got, but I didn't use it for that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to freehand draw just a basic fish shape, and then I'm going to use my blade and cut it out. And then I'm going to continue and put it over the top of more of this cardboard and cut several of them. I'm going to be making this really cool fish wall decor. It's super fun. I saw this on Wayfair.com and it was $67. Isn't that crazy? Theirs was made out of metal, so that's probably part of the reason it was so expensive. After I cut all of these fish shapes out, I'm also going to take some of them and draw a line in the inside and cut out like the center. You'll see here in just a second. I'm just going to make like an outline of a fish on some of them. It will be easier when you see it than for me to explain it. So here I go drawing that right now. And once I draw that outline, I'm going to take my blade and I'm just going to cut out that center piece. And that way I have like a thin outline of a fish to go along with the whole fish. And it's just going to make for a super interesting piece. Now to decorate each of the fish, I'm going to use different things. So I'm going to take this 3-strand white nautical rope and just pull off one of them. And I'm going to put that over one of the whole fish and just going to hot glue that down. And it looks really cool. Definitely very coastal feel. For the next fish, I'm going to use this gorgeous napkin that I got at Home Goods, and I'm just going to decoupage that right onto the surface, just like I would any kind of decoupage. Now this is a 3-ply napkin, so you have to remember to take off 2 pieces before you use it, otherwise it will not work. I've tried it or done it by mistake before and not fun. So once I get all of the pieces apart, I'm just going to put Mod Podge down on the fish. I'm going to then put the napkin over the top, and once it's dry, I'm going to carefully rip the edges off, and then I'm going to sand around the edges as well to make sure that there are no little loose pieces. Because the napkin's so thin and I don't want to rip anything, I'm going to put a little saran wrap over the top and then use my brayer. I don't do that on scrapbook paper or heavier tissue paper, but on napkins sometimes I do that just because I don't want to rip it. And now I'm just covering the top with more Mod Podge. For my next fish, I'm going to use this really cute coastal scrapbook paper. I'm just going to Mod Podge it on. Basically the same process, but I don't need to use saran wrap. Cut around the edges, make sure it's nice and secure, use my brayer, and then I'm just going to go ahead and sand the edges and make sure that there's no loose ends. Super, super easy. For this next one, I'm going to use the darker nautical rope and just basically do the same thing I did with the other nautical rope and hot glue it all the way around until the whole thing is covered. It looks so cool, you guys. And then I'm going to use another cute piece of scrapbook paper for this fish. And then on this fish, I'm going to paint. I'm going to use some of the Ocean Color by Waverly. It's chalk paint. And then I'm going to use some of the Crystal. And I'm also going to use a little bit of the Agave. And I'm just going to kind of blend the colors on there until I really like the way it looks. Kind of like an ocean vibe. Moving on to one of the thinner fish, I'm going to use that crystal color and I'm just going to paint over the top of that and around the edges. And then I'm also going to use some white chalk paint and I'm going to go ahead and go all around the edges of this fish. And then on the next one, I'm going to use the Apple Barrel Color Warm Buff and go all around this one, the edges, the top, and everything. And this is just so cool. You could do anything you want, any colors, any paper, tissue, whatever it is, or rope. And now I'm going to also use that dark nautical rope on this one and put it all the way around the edge with the hot glue, just like I did the rest, except for that it's thinner. Now that all my fish are decorated, I'm going to figure out the positioning and how I want to lay them out. Once I decide that, I'm going to get my hot glue gun out and I'm going to just hot glue every point where they touch one another so that it's nice and secure. And I do go to the back after and reinforce it as well. What's really fun about this is you can arrange them any way you want. You can put them in different directions, whatever you like. You can be super creative and original when you do this. Once this was assembled, I just put a little rope on the back with hot glue and some masking tape over it, and it's ready to go. You guys, I love it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Would you make this? I hope my channel is a fun place where you can come to be inspired to create something. I'd love it if you click the red subscribe button and turned on the notification bell. That way you'll always be notified when I have a new video ready for you to watch. I do all different decor styles on my channel, and there's something for everyone. If you like what you see, be sure to hit the like button and leave me a comment. We are one big crafty family here. For this DIY, I'm taking this little surfboard tray that I got at the Dollar Tree. It's so cute just the way it is, but I did decide that I wanted to do something different to it using my Kills White primer paint. Honestly, it took like 3.5 coats to cover. I added a little piece of rope on the back and I hot glued it down and put some masking tape over that and hot glued it down. And that's my little hanger. I wanted to do that before I finish working on the front. Now I've got these stickers from the Dollar Tree, and what I'm going to do is make a cute little design on here. I'm going to tape the center off because I don't want any paint that I'm going to use to go on there. So I'm using the Ocean and Crystal from Waverly. I'm just going to blend them together to make a really cool looking blue with a little white wash kind of, or crystal wash I should say, on it for the surfboard. And I just love the effect. It just looks so cool. Very beachy. And then of course, removing the tape, the satisfying part, which I did get a little bleed. So I'm using my white paint and I'm just going to touch that up real quick. I probably should have painted white on the edges first and then done the blue, but you know what? Live and learn. Now I'm going to figure out the positioning because I'm going to use 2 different kinds of stickers. So this first set, I'm going to put the word life, and then I'm going to use a different set of stickers and put the word salt. Cute little saying, salt life. Of course, very coastal, very beachy, and you guys, I'm absolutely loving it. It was so easy, and I'm going to cover that with Mod Podge to make sure my stickers don't go anywhere. And that's it. This one is done. I mean, come on, you guys. How easy is that? I love it, and I hope you guys like it. Besides YouTube, feel free to connect with me over on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. Same name, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie. I post all kinds of stuff on there behind the scenes and just what's going on in my day-to-day life. Hope to see you there. For For this DIY, I've got this really cute jar from the Dollar Tree. I love the way this one looks. I'm just kind of cleaning it off with a little bit of alcohol. And then I have this burlap that I got at Walmart, and I'm going to measure out a piece that will fit all the way around. And then I'm going to cut both sides because I don't want those edges. I want to be able to fray it, and I have to cut off the edges to do that. And it was also a little bit too thick for this jar. I've also got these seashells I got at the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to take this burlap and I'm going to pull the strands so that it looks very frayed on both sides. And then I'm going to wrap it around my jar, and I'm going to hot glue it to the jar and to itself. That way it'll stay in place. And I just love that look. It's so cute. It looks very beachy. And then after I secure that onto the jar, I'm going to take this ribbon that I got on clearance at Hobby Lobby. It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, and it's perfect for a coastal. I'm just going to cut a piece, wrap it around, and hot glue it to the burlap. And that'll just be a nice little embellishment to give it even more of a coastal flair and give it the colors that I want that go in our bedroom, which is a coastal themed decor. Next, I'm going to take my seashells and I'm actually going to put them all inside of the jar because you can see through it a little bit on the bottom and on the top. But I am going to take one and I'm going to hot glue it right to the front of the jar and right in the center of the ribbon. It's so cute, you guys. I just love that little extra touch. I think it's so fun. Next, I'm going to take some white nautical rope. It was 3-stranded and I took it down to 1, and I'm just going to wrap it around the threads of the jar because I'm not going to use the lid and I want to cover that up, and I think that adds to the whole coastal vibe. And then I've got these, you know, from the foam brushes, I always save the little sticks, and I'm going to use some Warm Buff paint by Apple Barrel, and I'm going to paint them. And then I'm going to take some Antique Wax by Waverly and distress them, and I want them to kind of look like driftwood. That's what I'm going for anyway. Once I finish that, they will go inside of the jar along with some really pretty dried flowers that my friend Jenny, who's in this collab from Loving Moments Creating, gave me. And I think they just look so beachy, so cute, and I really hope you guys like it. I absolutely love this one. And it was super easy to make. And now for one last look at all 4 of these coastal vibe DIYs. You guys, these were so fun to make, mostly Dollar Tree products, just a couple other things like the cardboard and the shelf I had. And don't forget to go down to my description box and you will find the link to the next person in the hop. Watch it and then follow the link in theirs and come all the way back to mine, and then you will have completed the hop. You will love what everybody made, and I know I can't wait to see it. They're all so talented, you guys. They're amazing, and I'm so excited that we are doing this collab together. Let me know down in the comments which one was your favorite, and if you're going to try to make any of these, I'd love to hear about that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy that you were here, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. I appreciate the time that you take to watch my videos. It means so much. And remember, you are a blessing to me.